Welcome back. We'll continue our coverage of the Independence Celebration Nigeria, recursive, resilient, and rising. We're being joined by two able guests. Yes, indeed. An octogenarian, Chief Jonathan Adio Obafemi Olopade, who is one of Nigeria's ageless and most distinguished personalities. A structural engineer by training, Olopade runs a chain of business ventures. He turned 90 on the 31st of July 2016. He's well-traveled, and the essence of his personality is his integrity. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for asking me.
And also here with us is Dr. Mrs. Josephine Awoshika, a technocrat with extensive and meritorious public and private sector experience, with a master's in clinical pharmacy and a doctorate in pharmacy technology from the Postgraduate School of Pharmacy, University of Bradford, United Kingdom in 1981 and 1985. She began working as an intern at the General Hospital, Benin City, pioneer, national coordinator, chief executive of the National Program on Immunization, director in the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, and the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. She's a fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and the National Institute of Directors. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So let me begin with you, Chief Olopade. Nigeria at 56. What's your take?
Well, thank you once again for asking me. I think this is the greatest opportunity that I have in my lifetime to be able to express my feelings, my honest and candid feelings about what I think of Nigeria. I grew up as a young man in the eastern region, in Port Harcourt to be precise. School there and went to UK to study. I became involved in student activities, what we call student politics. And I realized the significance of what it is to be independent. We were under the yoke of imperialists in the early 40s and 50s. And I observed, unfortunately, on your screen this morning, that the first and most important person who started the struggle, his picture never appeared, late Herbert Macaulay. It's important that we keep our history straight in this country. We don't, unfortunately. Herbert Macaulay was the founding father, brought Zeke and the rest of them into the system. And you can't write history when you decide to withdraw one of the essential parts. And this is why you have to teach history in our schools today. I remember as a young man, this young lady's father came back from Europe. And at that time, they say he was involved in shoemaking or something of that sort. And they all joined the struggle. I wasn't expecting to see her. I'm shocked when I saw her here. But that's life for you. Nigeria has gone through a series of development. But I'm very sorry to say that we haven't got much to show for what we have achieved within the last 56 years. Let's not deceive ourselves. We have to be honest here. We have not achieved anything that is worth mentioning. The reason being, we are convergent in our views. We are not divergent. You see this way, you don't spread that way. And as a result, what you miss here and what you miss here, you cannot recall them. But if you decide that you want a country that would stand amongst nations and say, here I am as one of millions of people, you have to be honest with yourself, which is what we are lacking in this country. We are not honest with ourselves. At level, no matter the level, in the church, schools, mosque, workplace, nobody's honest with each other. We tend to sing praises, forget the realities of life. What have we achieved? You have to measure your achievement with your predecessors, your counterpart, and those who've come after you. Let me take a typical case which is very, very prominent in my mind. That is Singapore. Late Lee Kuan Yew said he went into politics because of a Nigerian and a Gokosian. Who was in Nigeria? Remi Fani Kayode. They were students in Cambridge. And in the toilet, he heard these two Africans say, when they get back to Africa, they'll get rid of these whites, they'll make the best of their country. What did they achieve? If you go to Singapore today, you feel ashamed that you're a Nigerian. They don't have a liter of oil. They have 5 refineries in Nigeria. and they make money. They have the good medical training facilities. I had to deal with this young lady when she was in the Ministry of Health. I was supplying syringes for inoculation. I knew what she went through. Honestly, a young, dedicated person who wants to work, you don't encourage her. Is that the type of country you want to build? No, it's not possible. Today you are talking of the Chinese. I'm very sorry to say something which, if we don't take care, within the next 10 years, South Africa will colonize Nigeria.
Chief Olopade, if I may respectfully intervene here for a very few quick questions. At independence in 1960, you were about 34, 35 years of age.
Correct.
So definitely you were a full adult as at that time. Yes. Perhaps you were married. Perhaps you had a job. So you know what life was all about. If you take us through the first 34 years of your life, all the way down to October 1st, 1960, and looking back at some 56 years after that, signpost it for us.
Well, to be honest with you, I would say that what I achieved as a young man, or what I got to know as a young man at my early age within that first 34 years, was such that much as we're developing or underdeveloped country at the time, we could stand high in places. A young Nigerian would attend, say, the Scouts Jamboree outside, or Boys Brigade, or children, or school thing, and they perform effectively. They are recognized as a black race. Today, you have brilliant young men and women making history. You relegate them to the background. In 56 years. For God's sake. We carried placard in the UK. We are beaten by British policemen for asking for our rights. Not a privilege. Our rights. We needed it. We wanted it. We thought we deserved it. Okay, we got it. What have we done with it? That's the million-dollar question. We are not being honest. I'm sorry to say. And that's the key word, being honest with ourselves. Because if I'm not honest with myself, I tell you that I have a headache when I know I have stomach ache, you can't help me. And we're not prepared to learn. We now bring in religion as a yardstick of measurement. For God's sake, in the 30s, in the 40s, I'm a Nigerian, first and foremost. They say I'm from Ogun State. In Ogun State, there is no Ogumamba who hasn't got a family of Christian or Muslim there. We did not know any disparity. Awolowo's only sister was a Muslim. Obasanjo's only sister was a Muslim. And they are Christians. There was no discrimination whatsoever. Today, you think you have to get things, you must say you're a Christian, you're a Muslim. And in all honesty, are those people who are the leaders really Christians? They are churchgoers. Those who say they are Muslims, are they Muslims? They are just practicing believers who feel they use it as a springboard to achieve whatever they want to achieve in life.
Dr. Woshika, yeah. Chief Olopade has mentioned you several times, said he has had to deal with you going forward. But let's look at, I'm sure you had a preview, or you at least watched a bit of the President's address to the nation. Yeah. Do you see hope inspired, even in the face of the recession we find ourselves, compared to what Chief Olopade has outlined as things that used to be and things that should be?
Well, the President's speech, actually in my mind, before I started hearing the commentaries from you, resonates hope. And I captioned in myself 56 Independence speech of hope at a critical time where indeed we need to have hope, because hope deferred makes the mind to be sick. So that medicine this morning, it's very good for Nigerians. And I've heard your comments and Mokwe from Ogun from Abuja. And rightly so. Haven't seen this hope. Haven't heard from the President about hope. Haven't heard clearly what he has outlined. The next thing is to hear from the lieutenants. How do you make hope to become real. So going forward from Mr. President's speech, we need to be hearing more about how the various areas, we hear a lot about the security reports, which is good, and you know, the country has moved forward on Boko Haram.